Welcome back, friends, to TV5 News at 9. It's Covenant Kids Week, our week-long effort to raise money for Covenant's youngest patients. And you can scan the QR code to donate. But right now, joining us this morning to wrap up this wonderful week, we have Dr. Delisha Pruitt and Brian Pruitt. Thank you so much for being here. How are you both?
We are excellent. Thank you.
That's so great to hear. Brian, first of all, tell us a little bit about your family's journey with Covenant Healthcare.
My family's journey with Covenant Healthcare, and just about everybody I love has been born at Covenant Healthcare. When I look at all my kids, and truth be stated, many times my kids were in some tough situations, but the people at Covenant made sure that they got home. And
tell us about the neonatal intensive care unit, the NICU, that you really had a journey with.
Yeah, we did, and I'm going to let the hero of the story tell that part of the story.
Dr. Pruitt, let us know what happened. I know as a mother, just having to go to there, and as a doctor, you were a little fearful.
Right. You know, I was a patient at 21 years old and had my ovary removed from a 10-pound ovarian tumor, so I knew what it felt like to be a patient, but I never knew how vulnerable it was to actually have your babies in the NICU, and that's on a whole different level. And so I had my third C-section. I was 38 years old, pregnant with twins, and when they delivered the babies, those previous C-section scars opened up, and that put the babies at risk. So immediately they were born and whisked away to the NICU, and I had to have surgery that same day to have a hysterectomy to have my uterus removed because it was damaged. And so I didn't get a chance to see my babies at all. I didn't know how they were because I had to undergo surgery, and Brian had to take it over from there to stabilize my kids that were there and wanted to know how their mother was doing, how to know how the babies were doing. So that was very difficult for him.
It was very clear that we were in trouble. It was, the statement was made, Mr. Pruitt and Ms. Pruitt, you understand that today there's a possibility that you, Brian, could go home and be the father, a single parent father of two older kids,
that message.
or four. But there was a possibility that my wife and the twins would not make it home, but they did, and that had a lot to do with the people in the NICU unit there.
Dr. Pruitt, what was your care like there in the NICU? Tell me about that.
I love the care because when you went up there, they just had like a schedule, and they put everything in place. So when you came up there, you had help. The nurses were so attentive, not only to my two children up there, but to other kids that were up there. There was one baby who didn't have parents that were there, and they had volunteers and the nursing care. They held that baby, they hugged that baby. There were times that I couldn't even go up because I didn't feel well, and I knew that my babies would be taken care of because those nurses were so kind and so generous up in the neonatal intensive care unit.
And I can tell they had a real impact on your life, and you're tearing up.
I am.
Mean, you remember
it was beautiful.
When I visited the unit, you could just feel the love. It was like an extended family. With those, all of the people that were caring for you. How are your children today, Doctor?
How are the kids?
They're beautiful. They're 10 years old. And they are active and smart, and you know, I'm a little biased, but I think they're beautiful and they're wonderful, and I thank everyone at Covenant for everything that they did for those for my kids. You know, it was a touch and go moment there, but we came from on the other side because of the care and the generosity. And I think it's more than just a job for the people at Covenant. I really do believe in that. In that unit, they came in there every day with the love and compassion for kids and their families.
And because going through something like that so traumatic, you need someone.
You need someone.
And they have it. It just seems like it's second nature to the people who work there.
That's right.
Tell me, Dad, how your kids are, and how did that team impact you as a father?
My kids are doing absolutely awesome. They wake up every day with a plan to take over the world.
I love it.
Pinky in the brain mentality. Brian and Diamond, my twins. And let me just tell you this. As a dad, it put me at a lot of peace. A, to know my wife was in good hands. B, to know that my twins were in good hands, because that's a very stressful situation.
Yes, it is.
And if I could really quickly, it was probably several years later, I was on an elevator at Covenant. And a worker there noticed my name tag, and said, Brian Pruitt. And she says, are you the parents of the Pruitt twins? I said, yes, I am. And she said, I was in the NICU unit when they were there. And I said to her, I said, are you telling me 7 years later you remember me from being, and my kids from the NICU unit? 7 years later.
Ooh,
and she says, I do remember. And you know how when you're in the elevator, it gets dusty in there and your eyes start to water up?
Of course they do.
Your eyes begin to water up. You know how that happens.
Dust, yeah,
you know, so I got a little dust in my eyes. You know, it's a long, you know, from the first to the third floor, it's a long ride. But I got a little teary-eyed and I said, you know what? I said, this is a great opportunity for me to tell you thank you. You know, that I get the chance to sit at a table every night and have dinner with miracles because of the people who are in the NICU unit at Covenant.
And
so
that's
I appreciate
exactly
it.
the reason why. You know, tell me, both of you, to this day, the people who are looking out there who want to donate, you know, what would you tell them? What would you implore them? What would you say about Covenant? Please donate. Help this unit out and help the physicians and nurses and all that who love all of these patients there.
You want to give because these are people who have a compassion and a love for babies and children. And I'm telling you right now, when you go up there, they bring people peace in a time of stress. And they have blankets that they give. They give little hats for the families, for the babies, and they are there to support. They have volunteers, and so when you give to Covenant, you're giving to those type of efforts. And so please give, because it helps not only people like our family, but even people like the one family that the kid didn't have a parent, but Covenant was there to step in and to help, and I was so impressed by that.
I am too. They remembered you all those years later. You know, that tells you something about the people who work there.
That they love what they do.
Yes, they do, and they love all their patients. I appreciate you both being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you. Congratulations that your little babies are doing well. They're 10.
Yeah,
They're
they're
10.
10. They just turned 10 a week ago.
But they're still your little babies.
Yeah, that's
my
right.
babies.
They'll be 10 forever.
That's
10
right.
forever.
Thank you for being and sharing your very heartwarming story with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Colin.
You're welcome. And thank you again. If you would like any more information about Covenant Kids, you can find a link in the hot link section. That's at WNEM.com.